Please do make sure to subscribe, like and share to support us for more stories. They say marriage is about compromise, but what they don't tell you is, sometimes, compromise feels like swallowing glass while everyone around you pretends it's champagne. My name is Daniel Cole, 4 to 6 years old, a self-made man who built a small construction empire from nothing but blistered hands and sleepless nights. I wasn't born into wealth, I bled for it. And when I met Melissa, I thought life was finally rewarding me. She was beautiful, graceful, and spoke to the lonely parts of my soul I'd buried after my first wife's death. I thought she was peace. But peace doesn't come with a 16-year-old daughter who looks you in the eye and calls you a replacement man. That night, in front of my family, her daughter, Ava, humiliated me. And when I turned to my wife for support, the woman who swore before God to respect me, she said words that turned my heart to stone. She's not your daughter, Daniel. Don't correct her. Everyone laughed awkwardly. My brothers shifted in their seats. My mother's face went pale with disbelief. And me? I smiled. A calm, deadly smile. Because when a man like me stops speaking, that's when the storm begins. The next morning, I sat in my study with a cup of black coffee and started deleting everything that made their world comfortable. The university sponsorship, gone. The car I bought for safety, repossessed. The bank card I gave Melissa for household expenses, frozen. They had no idea the quiet man they mocked last night was about to remind them whose name everything stood under. I remember that evening vividly. The smell of roasted chicken, the sound of laughter, and the one moment that shattered the illusion I'd been living in. It was my mother's birthday. My entire family was there. My brothers, their wives, even my 2 grown sons from my first marriage. I wanted to show them that my new life, my new wife, was a blessing, not a mistake. Melissa had outdone herself with the decorations. The dining table looked like something out of a home magazine, gold-rimmed plates, flickering candles, and Ava sitting at the end, scrolling through her phone like royalty. Halfway through dinner, my brother joked about how I used to be strict with my boys. Everyone laughed, and he teased, "I bet you're softer now, with a teenage daughter in the house." Before I could respond, Ava chuckled without looking up and said, "He's not my dad. He just acts like one." The table went silent. I looked at her, calm, collected. "Excuse me," I said softly. She raised her eyes, smirking. I said, "You're not my dad, so stop trying so hard." My sons exchanged looks. My mother's fork froze midair, and my wife, just smiled awkwardly, like it was a harmless joke. "Ava," I said, keeping my tone firm but even. "That's not a respectful way to speak to anyone, least of all an adult who—" That's when Melissa's voice sliced through mine. "Daniel, don't. She's not your daughter, so don't correct her. You know that feeling when your chest gets tight, but your face stays calm? That's what I felt. My dignity burned, but I couldn't let it show. Everyone was watching, waiting for my reaction. So I smiled. A thin, cold smile. I lifted my glass of wine, looked at Ava, and said, "You're right. I'm not your father." And then I turned to my wife. "But that doesn't mean I won't teach you both a lesson in respect." They didn't understand what I meant then, but they would. The night after that dinner, I didn't sleep. I stayed up in my office, staring at the framed photos of the 3 of us, Me, Melissa, and Ava, all smiles and fake harmony. I realized something. I had been living as a stranger in my own home. Every gift I'd bought, every bill I'd paid, every dream I'd supported, none of it mattered. Because respect, the one thing I valued most, had died that night. By dawn, I had a plan. Melissa's SUV, my company lease, Ava's private university tuition, paid directly from my account. The apartment's rent, the utilities, the phone bills, all under my name. And so, as the sun rose, I started making calls. One to the university's financial office. Please withdraw all sponsorship under the name Ava Brooks. Effective immediately. One to my accountant. Suspend the household card. No further charges until I authorize it. And one to the car dealer. Repossess the Range Rover by noon. I'll handle the rest. Then I waited. Around 10 a.m., Melissa came storming into my study, robe half-tied, hair a mess. Daniel, why is Ava saying her tuition payment bounced? And why is my card declined at the store? I didn't look up from my laptop. Maybe because she's not my daughter, I said quietly. And you're not behaving like my wife. She froze. What the hell does that mean? I leaned back, folding my hands. It means I've decided to stop financing disrespect. If I'm just a stranger, then you can start living like one. The silence that followed was the sweetest I'd ever heard. Days turned into chaos. Ava's university suspended her for unpaid tuition. Her car was gone by midweek. Melissa's friends stopped calling when her card kept declining. The house that was once filled with her laughter became a tomb of whispers. I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I just watched. Watched as they finally realized how much my quiet meant, how much my presence provided. One night, Ava came into my study, eyes red and puffy. She didn't speak at first, just stood there, trembling. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean it like that." I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I saw the frightened girl beneath the arrogance. "Ava," I said softly, "respect is free. But once you lose it, it's expensive to earn back." She nodded, tears spilling down her face. It wasn't the apology I wanted, but it was a start. A week later, Melissa finally broke her silence. "You've made your point," she said coldly. "You've punished us enough." I smiled faintly. "I didn't punish you, Melissa. You did that yourself when you chose to humiliate me instead of standing beside me." She said nothing, just stared. Then I pushed a document across the table, divorce papers. "I built this life with love, but I'll leave it with self-respect." Her hands shook. "Daniel, please." But I was already standing. "Tell Ava I wish her well. Maybe next time she'll learn that words have weight." As I walked out of that house, I felt something lift off my shoulders. Not sadness, not anger, just peace. It's been a year since that night. I moved into a smaller house, built closer to my son's. My business is thriving. My heart, quiet. Ava sends me Christmas cards now. She graduated through scholarship, worked for it herself. Her last note said, "Thank you for teaching me that love isn't money, it's respect." And sometimes, when I think about Melissa's words, "She's not your daughter," I smile again. Because maybe, just maybe, that night, I stopped being her stepfather and became the man who taught her what a real father's strength looks like.